raza, religión, nacionalidad.
Somos más que eso.
Llegué de un país al otro.
Y a este país todos venimos por un sueño.
Cómo el trabajador vive en este país.
2 puntos con Emma Restrepo. Conversación Latinex. Somos más Latinex. Desde Filadelfia. Grandes historias con grandes invitados.
Estamos en una época de política bien interesante. Quizás para cuando usted vea este podcast o escuche este podcast, el ambiente político seguirá candente, tal como lo ha estado últimamente aquí en la costa este de los Estados Unidos, en Filadelfia, pero igual es en el norte, en el sur, en el oeste, en Europa, en Latinoamérica, por todos lados. Así que creo que esta intro no va a perder vigencia. Miren, siempre que las elecciones se acercan, los latinos, el tema de los latinos se alborota. Hablo, por supuesto, en los Estados Unidos. Es como si nos volviéramos de un momento para otro en algo que es útil o que es funcional, sin cuestionamientos. Ahí no somos criminales, ahí no somos víctimas, ahí somos ciudadanos que tenemos que votar. Y hablan de nosotros muchísimo, que no somos algo monolítico, ¿por qué será que las segundas y las terceras generaciones no votan? ¿Y qué es lo que pasa con los puertorriqueños? Y ahí sí los puertorriqueños son parte de Latinoamérica, digámoslo, ahí guisan los puertorriqueños, como dicen nuestros hermanos latinoamericanos. Déjenme darle esta cifra. En lo que lleva del año, en Pensilvania hay 80.555 nuevos ciudadanos de todos los orígenes. Este número podría poner senadores, poner congresistas, poner presidentes. Hay unos inmigrantes para los que es más difícil volverse ciudadanos y eso depende mucho de la manera como hayan entrado al país. Es un tema complejo. Lo que es cierto es que vivir en una ciudad, trabajar duro, pagar impuestos, ser buenos ciudadanos, no es suficiente para ser ciudadanos. Contradictorio. Ustedes se preguntarán por qué yo estoy echando toda esta perorata o por qué estoy hablando de este tema. Y es por nuestra invitada de hoy. Pero me dirán que tiene que ver el tema con el que hemos traído a nuestra invitada. Pero ustedes se van a dar cuenta que tiene mucho que ver. Ella es, o she is remarkable, como dirían nuestros hermanos güeritos. Es Karla Morales de Your Home Detox, Sustainable Housekeeping for the Planet. Aclaración, ella se siente mejor hablando en inglés y yo me siento mejor hablando en español, así que la conversación va y viene. Yo no sé por qué. Ok. Karla, bienvenida a 2 puntos podcast. Le cuento que nuestro equipo está regado por Colombia, en Cundinamarca, en Boyacá, en Baltimore tenemos una de nuestras integrantes y en Filadelfia hay 5. Karla, bienvenida.
Hello, how are you?
Karla, cuéntenos, un gran amigo, licenciado Pavel Uranga, me contó de usted. Me contaron que tiene una empresa de limpieza que usa productos orgánicos, lo cual ya es bastante poco común, pero que además están en un proceso, están pensando ser una cooperativa. ¿Cómo es eso, Karla? Cuéntenos esa historia, por favor.
Yeah, first, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. So with Your Home Detox, we started as an earth-friendly housekeeping business, and that started in 2018. But before that, I was cleaning houses with my mom. I've been doing that for a long time with her. And while I was in school, I was like, oh, okay, I think I might do something on my own, and why not open a cleaning business because I already have experience in that. And so the idea for sustainable housekeeping was because I have this passion for caring for the earth. And so I figured, why not start an earth-friendly cleaning business, because no other cleaning business was using eco-friendly cleaning products. But over time, like it's been 4 years now, our business has changed where now we are more open to the commercial industry. And so we do our best to use like low toxic cleaning products. And so not all of our products are eco-friendly or sustainable. But it's something that I would like to stick with over time.
Ok, Karla. Karla, tú dices que, bueno, tu mamá trabajaba en el cleaning services y cuando estabas en la escuela, ¿entendimos bien?
So I've been cleaning houses with my mom's since a very young age, since I was like 4. So she used to take my brother and I to the houses that she used to clean. And so she would babysit us that way. My dad would take care of us during the day. My parents would switch midday. And then my mom would take over, and then she'd take us to go clean with her. Well, she babysit us. And I remember one day I got bored and I started helping her around the house.
Claro, claro, no, es una situación bastante común para muchos inmigrantes. Karla, ¿de dónde son sus padres?
So my mom's from Jalapa, Guatemala, and my dad's from Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico.
Mm. Eh, ¿Era para usted la escuela? Me encantaría saber cómo era la vida en la escuela para usted, Karla, y su hermano. Ya estaban, porque usted está en Massachusetts, pero en esa época también estaban en Massachusetts, siempre estaban en el mismo lugar.
Yep, también en el mismo lugar. So school in Massachusetts, like what was it like for us? Um, I think school is such an interesting place. So like we grew up in our town called Ayer, Massachusetts. It's a small town. It's like close to like some farmland out here in Massachusetts. And our school life, I can only speak for myself. I wasn't very involved with school early on. I was very reserved and kept to myself. But one thing that I noticed is that there weren't many persons of color at the school. There were very few persons of color, especially Black and Indigenous persons as well. So I went to a pretty white high school and middle school throughout my whole life. And I think living in that space, growing up in that space, for me, I know impacted me in a way where I was thinking in this majority of this like white mindset of not seeing the world for what it truly is. We were living in our own bubble in a small town in a really
Mm,
white school.
mm.
But at the same time, I didn't have that many friends in school, and so I just kept to myself. And that's what I can say, like for the moment, about my school life.
Ujú. ¿Era buena estudiante, Karla?
Yeah, I was a good student. Literally, in school, like I did, like I what I did for class was like I would study just enough just to get by. I wasn't like the student who's like getting A's all the time, like A's to C's. My best class was my art class. I love taking my art
Mm.
classes.
Bueno, Karla, ¿qué tantos amigos tenía? Cuéntenos. ¿Tenía amigos, me imagino que latinos la mayoría, o qué? ¿Cómo era la cosa?
Hmm. There were barely Latinx students in my school,
Mm,
barely. We had this exchange student program at my school, and there were like two foreign exchange students, one from Chile and another from Spain, who I tried to become friends with, but it just never happens. I don't
Mm,
know.
mm, mm,
I don't know, but I didn't really have that many friends until I was like in high school and I started like doing sports. I did like track and I kind of made friends that way. And I just hung out with like the group of kids who were like into video games, into anime, who were like the weird kids, quote unquote. Um, so I hung out with those folks.
mm, mm. ¿Y hablaba en algún momento en español en la escuela, Carla, o prefería un poquito ese idioma mantenerlo guardadito?
So in school, I remember students who spoke a different language. We were like separated compared
Ujú,
to the rest of of the students in school, and the purpose of that was to teach us English. And each year we had to take an exam to see if we were learning more English. And being in a space like that where we were separated from other students, um, it I don't know, it made me think think that we were inferior.
ujú,
It made me think like, "Oh, like, why is it that we always have to be separated from the rest of the students, like, the beginning of the day or midday, just to check in on our, like, English speaking?" Um, but then also at the same time, like, I didn't really speak Spanish in school. In my Spanish classes, like, all the students would ask me, like, "How do you say tomato?" And I'd be like, "Tomate." And, like, that was, like, the only time that I would speak Spanish in school.
mm,
I went to a pretty white school.
mm, mm. Me quedó sonando esto de Chile y España, que usted trató de acercarse a ellos. ¿Cómo se veían estos dos chicos físicamente, Carla?
Um,
¿Se parecían más a los americanos o se parecían más a los latinos físicamente?
uh, the person from Spain, she looked more American, like very white passing.
Ujú,
She was also like a very quiet person, and so she was far away from her family, kept to herself. And then the other person from Chile, um, I don't know, like what does it mean um, to look Chilean?
ujú,
He did not look American, but
ujú,
but he was cool. He was also very quiet as well.
mm. Bueno, Carla, ¿y qué? ¿Termina la escuela y usted quería seguir estudiando? Carla, ¿siguió estudiando? ¿Cuáles eran las opciones que tenía en ese momento?
Yeah. So I'm thankful to be like a first generation in the States and to have like a choice to go to school or not to go to school. When I graduated high school, I felt like I was following the sheep, doing what society told me what was right and what would make a person like successful. And in that sense, it was going to school and studying. And so I applied to colleges and I ended up going to study at a university for like a year and a half. Um, but it wasn't the thing for me. I wanted to get started with life, and I didn't. I felt like I was having FOMO, uh, a fear of being like left out or left behind. And so I decided to just go into entrepreneurship and see what would happen because I really desired freedom. And for me, during that time, I thought that freedom was a material, physical sense.
Mm, mm. Carla, bueno, para ese momento, ¿tu mamá sigue limpiando o tu mamá ya paró, ya se retiró?
My mom is still cleaning houses. She has clients that she's had for like 20 years. When I started the cleaning business, I thought that I would be able to get her out of the cleaning industry. But she enjoys working. But I also think about how her as a Latinx person and an immigrant, like we believe our worth is linked to the work that we do. And so I don't know when she'll retire, but she's still cleaning houses to this day.
Ujú, mm. Y entonces surge esta idea de entrepreneur, libertad, lo cual también es un poco cierto, ¿no? Cuando uno tiene su negocio, en cierta forma, pues maneja su tiempo, sus cosas. ¿Cómo comienza, Karla? ¿Y cómo ha evolucionado? ¿Y cuándo comienza? Mejor dicho, cuénteme, comencemos por el cuándo. ¿Cuándo comienza, Karla?
So with the cleaning business, we opened in like 2018. But before that, I left school like December 2017. And when I was thinking about like what to do as an entrepreneur, I like made a list of things that I liked and things that I know how to do. And so from those two lists, I decided like, okay, I care about the planet and I know how to clean. So it could be easy for me to
Claro,
start a cleaning business.
combined.
Exactly, exactly. And so from there, I remember I looked up one day like resources to open businesses for women. And so I found this center here in Massachusetts. It's called the Center for Women in Enterprise, and they help support women and also non-binary persons to open businesses. And so from there, the woman that I met, she helped me like create a business plan. And so, like with that business plan, as she read it, she edited it, and she was like, "Yo, this is a really great idea. You should
Mm,
move forward with this." And so from there, I did the steps to like legitimize the business. Like as a corporation at the time, and then I had a friend who helped me like take pictures for the website. And the first website, it looked more like a landscaping company because there were so many plants on the website. um but I didn't understand like marketing at the time. I didn't understand like what kind of language to put there. But those were the beginnings. And I remember when we finally like released the website like in November 2018, 1 month in, I remember thinking like, oh my God, like I thought that people would come to us
ajá,
after opening the website. But it turns out that when like you open a website or a business, or if you start something, like you have to market it. You have to like be willing to spend money in order to get clients. And I didn't understand that. And I remember like crying about it. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? It's just because I didn't know. I didn't know.
claro. Claro, claro. O sea, Carla se imaginó pues que ya con tener la website abierta ya todo el mundo la iba a llamar. Carla, y bueno, ¿qué comenzó a hacer en términos de marketing? ¿Alguien le ayudó? ¿Cuál fue ese clic que entonces dijo, uy, por aquí sí funcionó?
um, with marketing, um, I don't market my business a lot online or on social media. I think that what got your home detox out into the world was me going out into spaces that supported entrepreneurs. And thankfully in Boston, there are many of those spaces. And so I would say that like the pivotal moment that, that helped market my business was meeting one of my mentors who I met at Innovation Studios out in Roxbury and here in Massachusetts, where
Ujú,
I pitched my business Home Detox during that time to for like a competition, a pitch competition. And like I think the financial win was like $1,000 if you won like first place. And so my intention wasn't really to win that pitch event, but to let people know about my company at that time.
claro,
And
claro.
so although like I didn't win, that was fine. I met Derek. He overheard me having a conversation with folks, like one of the persons who was a judge at the time, and she was saying to me, she's like, "Yo, you have something. You just have to like be willing to put yourself out there more." And then I was explaining to her my challenges, and I said, "But people don't want to pay for cleaning services. The people who I'm finding." And so Derek heard that conversation. He stepped in. He's like, "You're not finding the right people." And then he told me about the work that he does, and he's a sales coach for women entrepreneurs. And so he invited me to an event. And then after that, we reconnected, and he's like, "Karla, I will coach you until your business starts making $5,000 a month. I'll do that for you for free." And so, like, I had nothing else at the time, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try this out." And so I would meet with Derek like on a weekly basis, and like we talk. And this was before the
Mhm.
quarantine,
Yeah.
so we meet in person. Um, and so he had me like do things that I wasn't that at the time I felt like I couldn't do because I was so reserved. And one of those things he said to me, he's like, "Karla, like, you work in the cleaning industry. You have to talk to people. You'll be communicating with people." And so he's like, "You need to go out to like these chambers of commerces. You need to go out to these like town meetings and so that people know who you are." And so like with his like push, I started doing more of that type of work. And that's how like I marketed my business, was just like meeting people, word of
Claro,
mouth. And then eventually like clients would refer us to their friends and family.
claro, claro. Eso le iba a preguntar, Carla, porque cuando usted nos cuenta un poquito su historia de niña, su historia ya de joven, creo que, creo que, creo que su historia la hizo ser reservada, la hizo como estar como en una, sí, como en una concha, que no es fácil salir y hablar y seguramente, no sé, creo, como nos pasa a muchos latinos, incluso que han nacido aquí, como usted, Carla, o que llegaron muy jóvenes, pues les da un poco de reserva mostrarse y mostrar el idioma y mostrar lo que somos y salir con nuestra cultura. Y eso marca un poco la personalidad y probablemente en su ADN no está la timidez, pero las experiencias que ha vivido la han hecho un poco tímida. Sin duda difícil para usted, pues a través de su negocio lanzarse y hablar con la gente. Karla, ha mencionado mentores. Digamos que quizás si su mamá hubiera sabido esto y cómo meter su negocio, cómo navegar con el negocio, pues la historia suya hubiera sido muy distinta. ¿Ha pensado en eso alguna vez?
Um, I want to go back to like the concept of like being reserved, right, in the
Yeah,
Latinx
totally,
community.
totally.
But I'll get back to that after. But what I understood from the question is my story like different compared to the story of my mom? That's distinct. Yeah, it is, compared to my mom. And I notice as well, like with the rest of my family as well, who on my mom's side are also entrepreneurs themselves too. They work in like landscaping, general construction, cleaning as well. So I guess to answer your question,
Carla, do you think your personality will be different if you didn't experience this, let's say, shyness to connect a little bit more at school, or probably, I don't know, it's my hypothesis, but probably you felt different. You were part of these probably ESL classes, so why I'm different? Why do you think probably if you wouldn't experience that, your personality will be different?
um,
Are you different with your family, for instance? Or are you the same reserve with your family?
so I'm laughing because I'm learning a lot of things about myself. So to that conversation related to being reserved, I don't think school did that to me. The
Ujú,
more that I think about it, what I want to talk about is like within the Latinx culture, and I think like within society as a whole, where the patriarchy
ujú,
exists heavily and
ujú.
exists within my family as well, but it's not like as prominent as it is these days. But I remember growing up within my household that I was taught in a way to be quiet, to be reserved. And so that impacted me more. And so that carried through my social experiences in school. Oh, sorry, that's my dog. And so because I was taught to be quiet and that is a sign of respect, um, I'm sorry.
Don't worry, because my cat is also a co-host many times, so we have a double guest here.
Okay. Um, she just loves attention. But 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 because I was taught to be quiet, it just carried through in like my school life. And so like it also brought in fear within myself where if I like expose myself in certain ways, like socially, that I would be reprimanded. And so like that carried on through my life. And I think that with the cleaning business, and like I'm blessed to have met Derek to like where he was able to see like this like greatness within me that I had a very difficult time seeing within myself because I was taught to be reserved. I'm sorry, one second.
Don't worry. Es bien interesante. Es bien interesante lo que nos pasa a muchos latinos.
Um, but what I want to go back on is I think that with the cleaning business and existing now as an entrepreneur, that a lot of patrones within myself are being broken. And so like I give thanks to people like Derek who have helped me to break those learned toxic traits that were taught to me at a very young age. And so with that being said, I think like school impacted me in a way where um, that success was the equivalent of material and financial success and like how the world saw you, living in a very like white world within that school. And I also think at the same time within the Latinx community, I think it's also like a stereotype to think that Latinx persons are very expressive. That's not very true as well. They're also like very reserved Latinx persons because of
Ujú,
that patriarchy. Um, not talking about your emotions. Therapy isn't really a thing within the Latinx community either.
mm, mm. Bueno, Carla, entonces comienzas tu negocio solamente tú en ese momento, o tenías alguien más. ¿Cómo fueron esos inicios de ese negocio, Carla?
So with the cleaning business, um, my intention at that time was it started where my story was very close with my mom's, and so I was cleaning a lot of houses with my mom when we like opened the business, and she was basically like my mentor as well, my teacher when it came down to cleaning houses. And so like in a sense, I kind of opened it with my mom, although she already had her own foundation of clients. I was just the one like taking the lead when it came down to like the plans for growing a cleaning
Ujú,
business at that time.
ya. ¿Y en qué momento? Sé que gracias a nuestro amigo Pavel y una conversación que tuvimos con Carla antes de este programa, sé que hay un momento en el que esto se va a otro nivel. Karla, que este negocio de limpieza suyo se le abre una puerta enorme. Cuéntenos un poco de eso, Karla. ¿Qué fue lo que pasó allí?
Yeah, with the cleaning business, I didn't expect it to become the business that has become, and I'm also excited to see where it's going. Um, the pivotal moment for the cleaning business, I believe, was with the pandemic, with the quarantine, where like I was close to reaching that 5K goal that Derek was like helping me with for that monthly goal. And so when things officially close in March of 2020, I lost like all of my clients. I think like one person like continued with us.
Ujú,
Um, and I remember during that time, I was like, wow, like what do I do? Um, Unfortunately, a lot of persons who are self-employed and who are undocumented couldn't receive help
ujú.
from the government. And so like literally like I didn't know what to do, and I spoke with Derek about it, and I was like, Derek, like I don't have like any more residential clients. Like how am I going to support myself like during this quarantine? How are we going to support ourselves like with our family? Um and so he said to me, he's like, Karla, like you know people like who you've met who can help you. And so he mentioned he's like reach out to this person. And so and I was so shook, and I was like, Derek, I don't even think this person remembers me. I'll, I'll try. Um and so this person, her name like is Betty Francisco. And so I reached out to her, and I said like, hey Betty, do you know anyone who's looking for cleaning in the commercial space? Because I'm having like a difficult time right now, like with this quarantine, this pandemic. And
Claro,
she's
claro.
like, Carla, let's have a phone call on this day. And so we spoke on the phone, and I was telling her about my challenges at that time. And I think that was like their first time like ever speaking with each other like over the phone. Before that, it was like via email. And so she said to me that like it would be like a really like wonderful idea to open up to the commercial industry, because there is like more opportunity within that
Claro,
industry. And so
claro.
my business is your home detox. I never thought to open up to the commercial industry. And so she said like, oh, there's this organization out in Worcester, since I live closer to Worcester, that you should get in contact with. There's a guy, the president of that organization, his name is like Jose Rentas, and this organization is called LABO, the Latin American Business Organization. So after that phone call with Betty, I reached out to Jose. Like I found his email online, and I said, "Hey Jose, like Betty said I should talk to you. Like can we talk?" And so I spoke with him over the phone. He was like, all right, like how do you know Betty? Like what are you doing? And so I told him, I said, hey, like I'm struggling right now. I got like no clients. I'm trying to open up to the commercial industry. Do you know anyone who needs like commercial cleaning? He's like, Karla, you need to learn about like COVID-19 disinfecting, because people are going to need that right now. And so with his guidance, I literally like took a training online to learn about like COVID disinfecting. I bought the electrostatic machine, all materials I needed. And so like through Jose, like we got our first commercial client who we started doing like COVID cleanings for. And so like I noticed like with the pandemic, it was a pivotal moment for us to like open up to the commercial industry. Um, and then I think like the most exceptional thing from that, although the pandemic was atrocious, it's
Ujú.
awful, like for my business, like it grew from that. Like working in the cleaning industry. Fortunately, I'm thankful for that. But I remember, I think like late 2020, I connected with this woman. Her name is Anna Foster. And so I wanted to learn more about like getting into the commercial industry, and I told her about my interests. And so like her advice for me was to change my marketing, my website to fit the needs for commercial industries. And she's like, look at your competitors' websites and see what they are doing to sell their businesses to the commercial industry. So I completely like edited the whole website on my own to talk about like the commercial industry. And so then I also like joined the Worcester Chamber of Commerce. And then literally like 2 or 3 months after that, I was contacted by folks at Polar Park. And for those of you out in Philly who don't know what Polar Park is, it's the Red Sox minor league stadium that was being built in the city of Worcester. And I never really hung out in the city of Worcester. I didn't even know that a ballpark was being constructed at that time. But this person who was like leading the construction for that ballpark reached out to me, and he wrote, hey, it looks like you clean a lot of commercial spaces. We would like for you to bid to clean the stadium. And so then like I was shook. I remember I was cleaning a house during that time when I got that email. And so then I had a meeting with Derek, and I said, yo, Derek, like I got this opportunity to bid on the on Polar Park for the Red Sox minor league. And so he's like, Karla, your cleaning business is basically you and your mom and like your cousin. That's 3 people. Like you can't clean that on your own. And he's like, my idea is to find like a larger cleaning company for you to partner with. And he's like, reach out to your network. And so like I literally reached out to a bunch of people, and I said, hey, like I need help with bidding on this like RFP for Polar Park. I don't know what to do because it was my first time ever seeing an RFP. So I reached out to Betty, I reached out to Anna, I reached out to Central Women and Enterprise.
Ajá,
All like gave me like their gems. And they all said the
claro, claro.
same thing.
Todo el board.
Yeah, the whole board. Yeah, exactly. And they're like, Karla, the best way for you to do this is to partner with the commercial cleaning company that's bigger than yours, that already has certifications. And so from CWE, they recommended 2 cleaning companies to me. I spoke with both of them, and we literally had like 10 days to place a bid. And so I followed through with one of them. That partnership wasn't a good partnership. It was like being in a toxic relationship.
Mm,
It was very bad. And so that partnership and cleaning for Polar Park was great because, it got me other business like for the cleaning company, but it also pushed me in a way that was very emotional, very spiritual,
mm, mm.
where it taught me a lot of things that I don't want to work in within the cleaning industry. And like Polar Park in 2021, like I'm happy that we cleaned it, that like I did a great job of like cleaning that and like organizing people, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot very stressful, and it actually had me thinking about closing the business because of the things that showed me that I didn't want to do, that I felt unprepared for. But someone mentioned to me at one point who worked at Polar Park, he said, like, God doesn't give us things that we aren't prepared for. And so, like, I'm happy that the universe saw that I was ready for the opportunity, but it was like very challenging, but I'm very grateful for it.
Mm. Wow, qué historia, Carla. Carla, entonces es parte de sus clientes este estadio.
It no longer is anymore. I ended up walking away from that
Ujú.
but not without a fight with that cleaning company that I was partnered with. And it was actually a very good decision for me because it's not stressful, and at the same time, I'm doing a lot less work than I did last year making like the same amount of revenue, which is like fantastic.
Claro.
But also at the same time, like after walking away from Polar Park, like I took a break. I only like did things just to manage the company, just to keep it afloat as like I took this break. And so like now I would say like 2022 was like the incubation period to create an infrastructure to help support the growth of the business. Cause I know that like once like I put in the work again to grow it, everything's gonna come fast again. And so I want to be prepared for that. And
Claro.
that's also where the idea for like transferring the business, transitioning it to a co-op also came, which is also going to be a work in progress.
¿Cuántas personas hay ahora en su grupo, Karla?
At this moment, we have 9 employees, and then we also have like a small group of subcontractors as well as part of our company.
Mm. ¿Por qué usted menciona la palabra cooperativa, Karla? ¿Por qué una cooperativa? ¿De dónde surge esa idea?
Um, opening the business and like and changing it to a co-op came for me like last year before Polar Park, and I was actually a part of like these classes from CDI out here based in Massachusetts, where it was teaching folks about how to transition to a co-op. And so the reason why that a co-op is attractive to me is because it allows the workers within the company to also be owners. And so I've also like witnessed throughout my life a lot of exploitation for workers, having worked in the restaurant industry. And I've always been a person to care about workers' rights and the well-being of people. And so for me, like a co-op makes sense to allow persons to step into their power and to grow as well. And like, even though like my company right now is not co-op, like my staff still has the ability to voice their opinions and to share their ideas and perspectives on the business. And so I think like on the financial sense, I think it's also financially like a good idea as well to support like our team. And a co-op is still something that I'm learning about. And I think that it's also very new and different for my staff. To like change their mindset from a worker to basically a business owner as well. So I think it might be a slow process.
Claro, claro. Bueno, yo recordarles a nuestros oyentes pues que pues la ventaja de una sociedad cooperativa es que la gestión, como lo dice Carlos, es democrática, ¿no? Los costos se comparten entre los socios, acordes al capital, y los miembros son responsables de la sociedad, de esa sociedad y colaboran en su administración, muy distinto a lo que es una corporación y ya ustedes saben que las corporaciones son una de las cosas que nos tienen bastante jodidas en este mundo. Y bueno, las corporaciones son como un movimiento, digámoslo así. Algunos dicen que la primera cooperativa de los Estados Unidos fue la de Mutua de Seguros contra Incendios, fundada en 1752 por Benjamin Franklin. Pero otros dicen que el movimiento del cooperativismo en los Estados Unidos realmente nació en el siglo XIX con nuestros hermanos negros. Y hay un libro que lo explica muy bien, Collective Courage, que además nos lo recomendó nuestro amigo Pavel. Karla, ¿qué viene ahora? ¿Cuál es, qué, qué se imagina el próximo año con usted, su grupo, su cooperativa? ¿Qué piensa?
Beginning like June of this year, 2022, finding that spark again for the cleaning business after my experience with that partnership. I have been working on with like the help of people who specialize within this work to rebrand the company, to automate cleaning services by connecting like cleaners with clients to allow like cleaners to build wealth for themselves. And so like we are working on that rebrand. And with that rebrand, I also like created this goal as well to transition the company to a co-op, and then to also like meet like a financial goal as well. Having like set like the infrastructure related to like strategies and plans related to marketing, and then like what kinds of contracts to go after. That's the plan at the moment.
Claro.
And I'm not doing this alone. I'm thankful to have support people who are helping me to achieve these steps.
Claro, claro. Karla, deberías dejarnos ver a tu perrita. Yo creo que valdría la pena que la co-host, la co-guest, perdón, pueda estar en cámara para quienes nos están viendo en cámara. Y quienes nos están escuchando, pues ya la escuchan. ¿Cómo se llama tu perrita, Karla?
Her name is Mia. She's from Puerto Rico. But right now she's with my dad. She loves attention.
¿Cuándo migró de Puerto Rico para Massachusetts?
2018. Yeah, 2018, so 4 years ago.
Antes de la pandemia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Después del huracán María. Karla, nunca te pregunté, creo, ¿puedes votar? ¿No puedes votar?
Yes, yeah, I can vote. My parents can vote, thankfully, as well. I'm thankful that my household can vote, so I can vote, and I plan on voting today.
Sí, me parece muy importante. Karla, quiero agradecerte enormemente haber estado en 2 Puntos Podcast y habernos contado un poco de tu vida, de tu historia. Eso lo agradecemos muchísimo. Y quisiera pues contarles a nuestros oyentes nuevamente, como siempre, que este podcast es posible gracias al apoyo de Independence Public Media Foundation y el trabajo arduo y comprometido de Jason Nieto y Fernanda Sánchez desde Bogotá, y Antonio Cancel, Marison Caras, Mariana Muñoz y Edgar Ramírez desde Filadelfia. Si le gustó lo que escuchó, suscríbase en Spotify y en YouTube, 2 Puntos Podcast. Síganos en el social media. Apoye uno de los pocos podcasts Latinx en español, hoy bilingüe, desde Filadelfia. Yo soy Emma Restrepo, inmigrante y periodista independiente, enamorada de la diáspora latina y caribeña, no importa dónde esté. Muchísimas gracias, Karla, y muchísima suerte con el negocio.
Thank you. Stay well.
Raza, religión, nacionalidad.
Somos más que eso.
Llegué de un país al otro.
Y a este país todos venimos por un sueño.
Cómo el trabajador vive en este país.
2 Puntos con Emma Restrepo. Conversación Latinx. Somos más Latinx. Desde Filadelfia. Grandes historias con grandes invitados.